This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your source for the latest Iowa ag news headlines right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, Mark Magnuson, and Andy Peterson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Today's Tuesday, July the 8th, 2025. So glad you could join us here today. Coming up a little later on the program, we'll visit with Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net to run down those closing numbers. But first, we're going to talk with Shelbi Nederhoff of Nutrien Financial, what farmers should be thinking about, especially when she talks to the farmers in her area of Iowa. Here on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and today we're talking with Shelbi Nederhoff of Nutrien Financial, part of Nutrien Ag Solutions. She's a territory manager out of Wellsburg, Iowa. Shelbi, thanks so much for taking the time to visit with us today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here.
So when we talk about Nutrien Ag Solutions, a lot of time we focus on the products that help with the crop development and protection, but we're talking about the financial aspect of it today. Maybe tell us a little bit about what Nutrien Financial does.
Yeah, absolutely. Nutrien Financial is a way for farmers to help finance the inputs that they are purchasing from Nutrien Ag Solutions. We work with a variety of different suppliers to provide low-cost financing programs for our growers to utilize.
Okay, and so we're talking today, though, about the situation we're finding ourselves in this particular ag economy. We know it's affecting different farmers differently. You know, maybe we can talk about what these farmers can be thinking about, and maybe from your experience of what you're seeing around your territory there. Tell us about things that farmers are thinking about or maybe should be thinking about when they're approaching some of the aspects of this ag economy when they're working on it.
Right. So I think the one thing we can all agree on that's going on right now is there's a lot of uncertainty. We're facing low commodity prices, and the cost of inputs really hasn't come down in the same amount that the commodity prices have fallen. So one thing we talk a lot about with our growers is controlling your controllables, understanding where your cash flow is, and what your break-even point is per acre. There's a lot of uncertainty going into next year. So just being able to control what we can control to help us make more informed decisions.
So obviously, we plan as best we can, obviously, but obviously the markets change, input prices do change. I mean, so there's got to be a flexibility or be able to pivot when you have to, correct?
Absolutely. One thing that we talk about with Nutrien Financial is our programs are fixed rate, and they have a little bit of an extended due date. So you can utilize, for example, the capital from your operating line if you do need to make pivots throughout the year, because you don't have your entire operating line tied up, with your seed and chemical. I know a lot of guys this time of year, especially in Iowa, we saw a lot of corn tassel in the last week. So they're talking about, do I put fungicide on? That's one pivot we see year to year, depending where the commodity prices are. So that's what a lot of my guys are talking about right now. Where's the ROI? What's the rate that we're putting it on? What's it going to cost? Things like that.
So Shelbi, then how do the farmers take all this information that they're looking at, look at their lines of credit, and how do they get themselves in like that best possible position to be ready no matter what's getting thrown at them?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the most important pieces is understanding your cash flow. So knowing when my next loan payment's going to be, when I have that grain contract coming up, and helping align your income with your expenses. One way Nutrien Financial can help with that is with our preset due dates on our programs. And on top of that, knowing, like I said earlier, your break-even price per bushel, that can help you make marketing decisions, or knowing, yes, I can put that fungicide on, or I need to pare back in this area. Always, knowledge is power. So just knowing where you're at is a huge first step.
So that obviously we're looking at, we're the midway point of the 25 growing season already, hard to believe, but we've got harvest coming up. So obviously you're going to be looking towards closing the books on 1 year, but also, by the end of this month, beginning of next month, they're starting to already make plans for next year's crop. So you're kind of you've got 2 years kind of going at once. I mean, What can farmers be thinking about in that kind of situation?
Absolutely. I always say it's crazy how we start thinking about next year before our crop this year is even out of the field, right? So we always, there's a lot of benefit in knowing early on. You can usually take advantage of, price discounts by locking products in early. So looking for cost savings that way, talking with your lender, talking with a Nutrien financial representative of what that financing might look like, just so you have that interest expense. As rates have gone up, that's a huge line item on everybody's P&L. So by taking advantage of early financing offers to lock in your price, you can control more of those things on your cash flow, reduce uncertainty, and that way you can make decisions going into the next year, knowing exactly where you're at, protecting your, covering your fixed costs, protecting your bottom line.
So, do you have anything else that we haven't covered that you'd like to share with our Iowa producers for them to be thinking about with their financial things, and maybe why they should be looking at Nutrien Financial as an option?
Yeah, I would say double down on financial planning efforts and make sure you leverage every tool in your tool belt, especially in years like this. When corn was $6, $7, you had a little more margin for error, but we've had a couple tough years. So just really planning out, making informed decisions, and utilizing the resources at your disposal, whether it's your Nutrien Ag Solutions crop consultant, your lender, someone from Nutrien Financial, your insurance agent. Knowledge is power. So getting those things in line is really important going forward.
Well, folks want to learn more about Nutrien Financial and how your programs and everything work. What is the best way for them to look that up?
Reach out to your local Nutrien Ag Solutions retail location, and they can put you in touch with your territory manager from Nutrien Financial.
All right, Shelbi Nederhoff has been our guest here today. Shelbi, thanks so much for taking the time to visit with us.
Thank you for having me.
That again was Shelbi Nederhoff of Nutrien Financial. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, we're going to talk with Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net to look at the closing numbers. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. We're back on Ag Matters PM here on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and time to run through those closing markets. And to do that, we're being joined by Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. And Kaden, it didn't start off good today, and it just kind of didn't get any better throughout the day. Tell us what happened in those grains.
Yeah, I guess technically we're a little bit better than yesterday, right? But still certainly lower, and unfortunately closing kind of on the lower end of the day today here. So, we got new crop corn off 5 to 6, and beans lower again, more on the front month than new crop. But like you said, just continuing to leak off. I think again coming off of yesterday's headlines, or I should say lack thereof, coming out of the weekend from the president's address in Iowa. And weather, I mean, it's just been pretty good, and the forecast looks pretty good. And right now, you just can't really find a reason for anything to rally. So it's just not. And unfortunately, that's kind of where we're at right now.
Now, I have been hearing that there are some resistance points that are coming up that might be looked at pretty closely if this market continues the way it's been going. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, my first resistance point I'd look at is actually on the bean side. We've held this, roughly a 1020 to 1030 area in new crop beans for mostly since March. So we certainly want to see that kick in and hold, and see that going forward. Corn, I think you can probably see. I think there's probably a scenario where the funds want to press this thing into $4 and get all of the weak-handed longs completely out of the market. That's certainly on the table. Another 15, 18 cents from here. So it's possible. As far as for the here and now, though, I think beans are maybe a bit closer to resistance than corn is.
Okay. And then we did hear about some extensions of the deadline to have trade negotiations done with the United States. Does that have any positive support to the market right now? We're still talking rather than tariffs?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, tariffs are one of those things that just kind of keep hanging around, and sometimes for better and sometimes for worse. Coming out of the weekend, I think we had hoped to see, some positive news come Thursday, didn't really get it. And then, we've got some new stuff coming out yesterday as far as Japan goes and whatnot. My honest opinion is that right now, I don't know that anything from those tariff headlines is overly crucial to this market. I think weather is driving. Most people are mostly concerned about the Japan tariffs from yesterday, but I think as of right now, corn is not involved in that. So hopefully that continues to be the case. But, like I said, I think this tariff news is going to continue to be in the headlines. I just feel like the market's got a bit quiet and reluctant on it until, something big happens, and specifically with China and any type of thing there. I think that's going to be what moves the market next.
All right, moving over to the livestock side of things, cattle and hogs. What do we see come out of there today?
Yeah, I mean, more contract highs here in the cattle market. What do we got here? Fat's up $4 and feeders up almost 5.5. So just continuing to race. I really don't know any new news there other than, it's just been the trade over the last 3 months is sell corn and buy cattle. So continuing to see that play out here today. Hogs down a bit, about 30 cents or so. But really, across the cattle and hog complexes, I just don't really see anything that gives you too much pause here. Trend has been up and continues to look to be that way going forward.
All right. Well, Kaden, if folks want to talk with agmarket.net to get some ideas of what they should be doing with their market strategies or make plans, or if they've got some of the new crop stuff that needs to be handled yet, what's the best way for them to get in touch and get that advice?
Yes, sir. Just go to our website, agmarket.net, and you can reach anyone from our team there and also get a 30-day free trial of everything we offer. Certainly an important time here as we're getting into pollination. So be sure to get on that trial.
All right. Well, Kaden Sweeney's been our guest here today. Kaden, thanks so much for the insight. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Appreciate you.
That again was Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and take a look at the closing numbers now. You can find that on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network market screen. At the close, corn was down 5.5 at $3.98 even. Soybeans down 10 1/4 at $10.21 1/4. Soy meal down $1.50 at $2.70 per ton. Soy oil up 17 cents at $54.11. Chicago wheat down 3/4 cent at $5.47 3/4. Kansas winter wheat down a nickel at $5.22 1/2. Kansas spring wheat down 16 3/4 at $5.95 1/4. Minneapolis spring wheat down 5.5 at $6.31 3/4. Oats down 11.5 at $3.77 even. On the Merck live cattle up 407 at $219.97. Feeders up $5.40 at $319.12. Lean hogs down 32 cents at $106.77. Pork cutouts are unchanged at $114.32. Class 3 milk down 6 cents at $17.24. And that's been a check of our closing market recap, and that brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, X, and on our YouTube channel. And while you're there, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified each time we put out a new video project. Also, don't forget about the free market podcast coming to you 3 times a day through Amazon, Apple, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the iAron Studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Mark Magnuson, Riley Smith, Ashton Jolly, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.